Section of Open Soul Sessions. I'm going to send it over to Nana Soul, and we're going to talk with Moses Miller. All right, so everyone give it up for Nana Soul.
Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us for the open book segment of Open Soul Sessions. One of my favorite segments. As a writer, I always like to try to bring new authors, fresh voices to our audience, because I think it's important. These are the people, these are the thinkers of our times who are contributing to how we shape our ideas. And Open Soul Sessions is a well-rounded format. We have poets, we have singers, we have instrumentalists, but also we have writers. So that's something new that you usually don't see at open mics. Today we have a very special treat. Moses Miller is with us. He's an award-winning journalist, motivational speaker, and author. He's the author of a book that he's going to read from today called The Barack and Me. And he's also the co-founder of Mind Candy. And it's a company that focuses on really producing thought-provoking screenplays, something that we really need in these times. So without further ado, I want to introduce Moses Miller. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, so I want to ask you, because I'm not a huge fan of Barack Obama. And I'm usually not very popular when I say that, but what do you mean by the Barack and Me? What is that about?
Well, basically when I wrote that book and just going around the country with my other books, you mentioned The Trifling Times of Nathan Jones, I had an opportunity to really see a lot of youth in different situations. And one time I was in Baltimore, and actually in Baltimore, in the area I was at, the dropout rate is greater than 70%. And you had kids there when Barack Obama was running for president saying that they never thought they would see an African-American president. But my father grew up in a town called Williston, South Carolina, and he dealt with racism firsthand, where there used to be a whistle that was blown in his town. And when that whistle was blown, if they weren't in the house, the Klan used to come to the town, and you know what happened from there. So for him to say that, I understood. While I used to say that, it was disheartening. I wanted them to understand that where you are does not determine who you are, which is the tagline at the top of the book. There's greatness that exists within your inner soul. It's time that you unleash that Barack in you. So it's not so much, when you look at Barack Obama and his accomplishments, it's not so much that it's about Barack Obama as it is about what's in you. Where's that greatness that lies within you? And the only thing that separates Barack Obama from some is that drive and determination that got him where he's at. I wanted our youth to always understand that they have the same potential inside of them.
Okay, but do you think that sometimes maybe you need a little bit more of a deeper analysis in terms of, because there's people, they look up to Beyonce, they look up to Jay-Z. A lot of people say, Barack's like a rock star. People kind of just look up to him because he's on television. Do you think that we need something more substantial in terms of a role model, especially in these days and times?
I believe this. I think that you mentioned Beyonce, you mentioned Jay-Z. I think you take from it what you can. There's some kids that I deal with. I mentor about 40 to 50 African American and Latino males at this point. When you talk about role models, I mean, I have kids that tell me that they feel like they would drop out of school because they could get ahead quicker than those that go through school. So when for me to have a conversation with an adult or with somebody who's been well-rounded, I say, yeah, there's a lot more. It's a lot deeper than just looking at Barack Obama accomplish something and if you put focus behind whatever you want to accomplish, you can do the same thing. But with a child, sometimes it is that simple because they're being fed so much in the media. To see a man that, is African American, I mean, he's mixed, but somebody who looks like that, who went through school, who accomplished great things in his life, it means something to them. Because what I'm battling and what parents are battling is the imagery that's put out there. Most of the people that they look at as their heroes didn't go to school. When you ask a lot of the kids that I deal with, their heroes aren't people that are Harvard graduates. Their heroes are hitting the corners.
All right, well, I'm ready to hear from the book. So let's hear from The Barack and Me, Moses Miller.
The piece I'm going to share with you is actually the last entry in the book, The Barack and Me. The name of the piece is Snowman. Before I had even reached my teenage years, I was hustling hard with dreams of doing it big. At an early age, I was exposed to many things, and my young, impressionable eyes took it all in. I knew the gangsters and all the thugs, becoming keenly aware of the way they operated even without them knowing. There was the weed man pushing tray, nickel, and dime bags. There was minimal risk, but minimal return as well. Then there were those who peddled crack. They were low level and were only seeing petty cash. However, since there was mandatory sentencing associated with cook rock, I steered clear of it altogether. Instead, I pushed white powdery snow all over my hood, doing hand-to-hand transactions with people whose skin was the same complexion as mine. As a matter of fact, many of them were neighbors of mine, and in some cases, I even went to school with their children. I had a team of loyal soldiers behind me. Some would consider them grunts, but they provided the muscle I needed to keep my operation afloat. With their backing, I locked down every block and street corner in my neighborhood. I was known as the Snowman way before Young Jeezy even laid his first verse or introduced the world to trap music. I embraced the frigidness of the winter, feeling a slight sense of giddiness when I saw the first snowflake making a downward spiral from the sky below. We hit the pavement hard, getting out early as soon as the last snowflake hit the ground. Unlike the other hustlers, my team and I went directly to our customers. We locked down the corners first because we made more money there. I was the only one who spoke to my connects, negotiating the deals. Once we agreed on the price, I had my soldiers put in the work. As a businessman, I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty if need be, but I preferred to supervise. The competition was always out and about later than us. By the time they rolled out of bed, we had already locked down all the prime locations. More importantly, we outsmarted our foes, but never needed to resort to using intimidation or extortion to grow the business and expand our work. Basically, we just moved more quickly and efficiently. Plus, I was always willing to throw salt wherever we went. I was unremitting and fearless. I do it right in front of my customers just to let them know I was about my business. While my workers held things down, I venture out on my own and negotiate new deals. As a boss, I had to be able to effectively wear a few hats. I practiced the art of articulation and used it most effectively with potential customers. I also used that power to motivate my workers and keep them in line. At the end of each day, I broke bread with my team before we went our separate ways. I treated them well, giving them an honest day's pay for an honest day's worth of work. I headed home with a rubber band wrapped knot of crumpled bills arranged in sequential order. When I reached my crib, my mother was always waiting at the front door for me. One of her hands would be extended, and I knew what she was going to say before the words even came out of her mouth. "How much did you make today?" she'd ask. $280, I replied reluctantly. She always took half of my money, putting it away for me in a savings account. I really didn't mind giving her the money, but I knew what was going to follow. After a long day, I just wanted to settle down. But my mother was like one of the fiends that I serviced on the streets. She wanted my product, but she never paid. While I was out on these streets, I was still a snowman in her eyes. "Well, you know the routine," she'd tell me, with a slight grin on her face. "Yeah, I know," I'd say, with a lot less enthusiasm than she had. "When you're finished, I'll make you some hot chocolate." "Okay," I'd reply before grabbing my shovel and getting started on the walkway. That was my first job and my first hustle. I moved snow like I move books today, learning the basic concepts of running a business at an early age. My mother taught me the value of money and encouraged me to invest in my future back then. From shoveling snow to pushing newspapers around the neighborhood, I got my hustle on as a kid, saving half of my earnings with each job that I took on. The money that my mother saved up for me way back then went towards my first college class. The drive and determination to achieve my goals is still with me today. True story, Snowman.